You are tuned in to the Post Route. Here is your host, Earl Kitchings and Ronline Cannady.
Now, Ronline, you know what you just said.
Oh my, the kitchen's table.
Okay. I
Sorry
just
about that, you all.
I just wanted to check. Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Kitchings Table. Joining me, as always, my co-host, Miss Ronline Cannady. Ronline, had something else on your mind when you opened up this morning, eh?
Yes, well, I saw what was happening, and yeah, it was my had to fill in that dead air. Sorry about that.
No problem, no problem. So it is another Tuesday morning, and as always, we are glad to be with each and every one of you for the Kitchings Table. Just in case you're trying to figure out what did she say, the post row. So we are always glad to be here, and of course, we welcome you. So, Ronline, our topic for the day is the noblest of prizes. The
Mm-hmm.
noblest of prizes. And there are a lot of prizes and all kinds of prizes and all kinds of awards that are presented to people from military awards to entertainment awards to sports awards. But the Oxford Dictionary of Contemporary History,
Mm.
the Oxford Dictionary, probably the oldest dictionary known to man, describes this award as the most prestigious prize in the world.
The world.
The world.
Mm.
And you know, when you start talking about international or worldly things, we are talking about global. They could probably even say that the most prestigious prize in the universe, since we don't have anything or anybody else to compare it to, but they call it the most prestigious prize in the world. So when we talk about this prize and what it's about, how it's presented, who it's presented to, things of that nature, before I tell everyone what this prize is, I'm just curious as to what type of awards and or prizes do we really zero in on for the most part. We know what we're dealing with this time of the year with sports, also with entertainment, but this doesn't have to do with entertainment per se. But when we talk about awards now and prizes now, of course, if you're a football fan, the prize now is to win the Super Bowl and to get that Super Bowl ring and to, you know, they really talk about getting that Super Bowl check. It's all about that ring. And of course, that ring probably is more valuable in terms of dollars and cents than the check itself. But to be called a Super Bowl champion, I think that's the bottom line to be called a champion of your specific sport, to be the champion. In individual sports, that's not that difficult to do because it's only you. But when it's a team sport and you've got team members, it's a team effort. And as they say in the world, in the realm of team, there is no I in team. In football, there are 11 eyes. In basketball, there are 5 eyes. In baseball, there are 9 eyes that perform on the field or the court each time. So Super Bowl, college championship, those are prizes. When we talk about entertainment prizes, I just looked at the global awards recently. That was interesting because that award is a little bit different than what the Oscars are, but you got the Oscars, the Emmys, the Grammys, those awards for entertainment. So we are a nation driven by entertainment. I will say that. I will say that we get caught up in that entertainment, and for those of you who don't know it, pro sports is entertainment. It is entertainment. Unlike high school and college athletics, we don't really call it entertainment per se, because I guess the difference being the players don't get paid, but I guess that's changing now with the NIL. So uh, it's a little bit different. But this award, the most prestigious prize in the world, let's see. What would that be? What would that be?
Mm.
And it's a gold medal. We talk about gold medals when we talk about the Olympics, another sports prize, but this does not deal in those aspects. It deals in chemistry, physics, physiology, or medicine and literature. And that prize is the Nobel Peace Prize, or the Nobel Prize to shorten it. But the Nobel Peace Prize is the most prestigious prize in the world. And it was established by a Swedish industrialist, inventor, and armaments manufacturer. Industrialist, inventor, and armaments manufacturer. It's awarded annually to people who have done the most or the best work for fraternity between nations, for the abolition or reduction of standing armies, and for the holding and promotion of peace congresses. The Nobel Peace Prize, awarded annually. So that's what that award is about. That's who will receive this award. You have got to do some. Is it extraordinary or extraordinary? Which one do you prefer, Ronline?
Extraordinary.
Extraordinary, not extraordinary, but extraordinary.
Yes.
You got to do some extraordinary work. I mean, you got to be head and shoulders above a lot of other people to be considered. First you have to be nominated, then you have to be considered, then you have to be selected. What's your take on this particular prize, Ronline?
So when you talk about peace and you're talking about bringing nations together, especially in our day and time, to be able to do that, to be able to be honored with that, to be able to be recognized with that, that means you've done some extraordinary work in order to bring nations together, to be able to have that time of peace where all of you are on one accord, because there's a lot of nations out here, to be able to unite together for one cause.
And since 1901, this award has been presented to individuals. As a matter of fact, it can even be presented to an organization. So it's not limited just to individuals. But when I read the part where it says peace congresses, I was like, what's a peace congress? So I looked it up, and a peace congress in international relations has been defined as a way that would distinguish it from a peace conference. And it's an ambitious forum to carry out dispute resolution in international affairs and prevent wars. The idea was widely promoted during the 19th century, anticipating the international bodies that would be set up in the 20th century with comparable aims. So to prevent wars, which means you're talking about humans doing evil things or ugly things or things that are not peaceful to other individuals and other countries. And when we talk about making peace amongst people, that is one of the things that several of the individuals who have won the award from the United States have done. And the Nobel Committee, which is a 5-member committee appointed by the Parliament of Norway, is has been held in the city of Oslo since 1990. Previously, it was held at the University of Oslo. But this committee accepts these nominations, and I'll talk a little bit about the nominations of who gets nominated, and then they make a decision about who they think has done something extraordinary. So if you're a chemist and you've done something extraordinary, if you're a physicist, and let me tell you, Ronline, I don't know if you ever took a chemistry or a physics class, but let me tell you, I've taken both at the entry level in college, and physics is nothing to be played with.
No.
Physics is nothing to be played with. I mean, you have got to have a lot of brain power to deal with physics. So when we talk about physics, and to take it a little one step further, physics and engineering,
Mm-hmm.
because those two things kind of work hand in hand. You build something, and the physical properties or the physics related to something or how things work. I was looking at I'm always intrigued with engineering shows on TV, whether it be about the positive or the negative, and how they built a bridge with a this massive column in the middle with these cables that hold the bridge up, supported on one side primarily to hold it up, and you got all these cables to hold it up, and the tension of the cables with this main support does all this work to make sure that this bridge stays up. Now we cross bridges, and I don't know if people really think about the fact that a bridge is a very extraordinary piece of engineering, major bridges, but a lot goes into it, and you got to really have your head together when you're dealing with engineering, i.e., coupled with physics. Same goes for chemistry. The element table is quite an interesting thing. So people who are dealing with chemistry, you talk about chemicals, we talk about taking, they probably won't say it, but I'll say it. When you take a drug, that's a chemical. It's been developed with chemical properties in order to do something to alleviate pain or remedy something. But you got to put things together in order to make them work. I mean, and that's the basis. And then when we talk about medicine and chemistry go together like engineering and physics go together. So these are the sciences. And you take a gentleman like Alfred Noble, who was an industrialist and an armaments manufacturer. So he had some things going on, and an inventor. So he had some things going on that, he was doing to help mankind, but he also wanted to promote mankind with the things that he was doing with this Peace Prize. So it's been very interesting to note that this award uh, goes to people who are about promoting peace. I mean, or making life better, the betterment of life. I think the betterment of life comes under is the umbrella to all of this. Peace, quality of life, all these things happen because you want to make life better for everyone. So it hasn't been difficult to identify those people with science backgrounds. But then you go 360 degrees and you throw in literature. How does that factor in, Ronling? What do you think they were thinking when they said, well, and we're going to include literature in this Peace Prize of what's going on, because that is an important part of some of the people who have won this award. What do you think?
Yes, words can make you feel good, and words can make you feel bad. So the words that have brought people together, the act of literacy, the
Mm,
act of um, bringing people on one accord, once they listen, to get a person to listen, to understand where you're coming from, that's a whole thing in itself. So that literary work, I think, was brilliant to bring to the table,
mm-hmm,
because when you do
mm-hmm.
a military address, to the people that are responsible for keeping the peace.
Right. Peace.
So to be able to put that body of work together and bring it into this forum, I think is a great thing. I mean, it has worked for many nations. Um, and that's probably where we are today, to just be able to restore peace, to be able to talk about it, to bring everybody to the table, to bring one perspective.
In saying that, that's a very relevant thought and a very relevant observation. It's interesting because Alfred Noble inventions included dynamite and ballistae, uh, basically two things that are used for violence in war.
Mm-hmm.
And because of him having a friendship with a lady by the name of Bertha von Suttner, who was a peace activist, they came together and made this effort possible, because here's a guy who invented something. Dynamite not necessarily was made for war. Maybe it was made for more scientific things, or uh, destruction of something to help build something. But of course, man, the most destructive animal on the planet, the most destructive animal on the planet, man, will find negative ways to use something as powerful as dynamite. But uh, Alfred Noble died in 1896. There had been many wars prior to that. And then when World War One happened, which is probably the most violent war known to man because of the chemical warfare that was used. So, you think about war and violence and a guy inventing something for destruction, but at the same time, he wanted to have, I guess it got to him, he's like, no, I'd rather have peace.
Mm.
And, as the song goes, let there be peace on earth. Um, and the four-letter word that comes out of peace is LOVE. So if we can have peace and love, what a better world we'll have. But on the opposite side of that coin, without war, there's some other things we can't have. I mean, you gotta, if you're gonna create all these military armaments to destroy or defeat someone, you gotta wipe people out, or kill people or whatever. So it's an interesting dichotomy that uh, Alfred Noble got into, based on who he was and what he was doing. So uh, that's an interesting thing, that a man who decided he wanted to have an award to recognize individuals who were doing positives. And it would I've often asked myself this, and maybe you have too, is why is it that we just can't have humanity work for humanity in a cooperative, collaborative, and peaceful way to make this planet good for everybody, so that everybody can flourish? I mean, we don't have to all flourish at the highest level, but poverty, countries without water, countries without paved roads, countries without hospitals and medicine, countries without schools, to teach children. Why can't those who have help those who have not for the betterment of humanity? Why is that such a difficult thing? But I know the answer, Ronline. I know the answer.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if you know the answer. Why that does not happen a lot more than it does.
Greed.
Ooh, give us another word instead of greed, Ronline.
Power.
Give us another word. Give us that. Come on, hit that home run for me. Greed, power. You know, if you got greed and power, you must want what?
Some money.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Got to follow the money.
Got to have that money.
Mm-hmm. Have to follow the money.
In the early 70s, I've said this before. In the early 70s, the song just resonates. It continues to resonate to this day. But the song is so poignant. When the OJs made the song "Money, Money, Money,"
Mm-hmm.
it has not changed.
Yeah,
Those
some people gotta have it, and some people really need it.
some people really they need it because they're in need, not because they need it because they gotta have it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, the minister that we are aware of when we were growing up, who had a radio show that was very popular, definitely popular up north. The Reverend Ike,
Mm-hmm.
and he
prayer
quoted,
cloths.
huh?
Those prayer cloths.
Oh yeah. Well, they've done better now.
The water.
One guy who's out there with the miracle water.
Water, yeah.
I want to use some of this miracle water.
Mm.
And let me tell you, you will be prosperous. See, isn't it interesting? You order a cloth or some water to become prosperous.
Mm.
You take that religion, that spirituality, and become hypocritical and say, because it'll give you, it'll make you prosperous.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so it's all about prospering. We need that money to prosper. But I remember Reverend Ike making the comment, money is not the root of all evil. Now, there are those who biblical scholars and people in religion say, well, money is the root of all evil. And Reverend Ike challenged that. He said, money is not the root of all evil.
Mm-hmm.
The
lack of, on the other hand,
lack of money.
The lack of money.
The lack of money is the root of all evil.
Yes.
When you think about it, it's like, so if you don't have it, you're trying to get it. Mm-hmm. If you got it, you're trying to keep it. If you got most of it, you're trying to get more than your share. Mm. Greed and power and money. Bad prescription. But yet, that's what we deal with on a regular basis. So anyway, when people are in that mindset, humanity can't get better because somebody wants more than their fair share. Those who have more than their fair share aren't always willing to do more for others. And that's where this whole thing lies. Because if you got millions and when you think about how many millions of dollars were spent on the election this past year in America, the millions and millions and millions of dollars spent so that somebody can have power and have control is unbelievable. Take that same money and apply. Hey, I'll tell you what. Take 10 million of that millions of dollars you chalked out there, Elon Musk, and send it to St. Jude's Hospital for kids. How about that? Mm-hmm. That next rocket you want to send up there in outer space, for all you guys who want to send these rockets up in outer space so People pay $1 million, $2 million for a quick ride into outer space and come right back. Send that to St. Jude. Send that to a children's hospital. Do something good for humanity. You know, you having a thrill ride means nothing except to you and those like you.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a Nobel Peace Prize that's working to help humanity. And when we talk about the literature part of it, which deals with, like you said, the words of making things better for others, you know, that's where that lies. I'll share this with everyone too. One of the most known persons of human rights, justice for human rights, dignity of human rights, had never won the Nobel Peace Prize. They were nominated several times. They never won the award.
Who was that, Earl?
And because we are doing this particular show today in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the drum major for peace, human rights, and justice, he was a mentee of, or he got into what he was doing because of Mahatma Gandhi. And Mahatma Gandhi never won the Nobel Peace Prize, although he was nominated several times, never won the award.
Mm.
A travesty, a true travesty, because here is a man who was all about peace, but never won the award. So we talk about individuals like Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the first African American to win the Nobel Peace Prize was a man by the name of Ralph Bunche. And he was a U.S. ambassador. Real quick, he was the first African American to be awarded the Peace Prize. He received it for having arranged a ceasefire between Israelis and Arabs during the war, which followed the creation of the State of Israel in 1948. 1948. And this man was involved in the civil rights movement. He served as on the U.S. delegation to some United Nations conferences. We don't really know a lot about him. However, he did something very important. He orchestrated, or he arranged a ceasefire.
That's powerful.
That's powerful. I'm arranging a ceasefire. Hey guys, stop. Okay, just stop. Ralph Bunche won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1950 for arranging a ceasefire between Israeli and Arabs once the State of Israel was created in 1948. There was no State of Israel until 1948. So Israel as a state, as they state here, country, whatever, has not been what it is that long, not even 100 years yet. And they were already having wars with Israelis and Arabs fighting. There needed to be peace in the Middle East. And you sent a brother to get some peace. Am I framing this the correct way, Ronline? A brother to get some peace. From the United States, an ambassador to the UN. Send Ralph over there. Maybe he can straighten it out. Hey, we're at the halfway point of our show today. This is the Kitchings table. let me tell you, Ronline, when we get into the mode of putting some things out there on people's head to think about, well, I don't think nobody does it better than what we do. But this is the Kitchings Table. Every Tuesday morning, you can catch our show here on YouTube or catch us in our recorded shows if you miss us on Tuesday mornings. But check us out. Holler at us if you like what you hear. If we're making sense, if we're bringing out some things that just are things that make you go, things that make you laugh, things that make you cry. I don't know which, but we're just here to provide provocative and thought-provoking topics of interest. So today our title of our show is The Noblest of Prizes, and it has to do with the Nobel Peace Prize. So going back to what I said before our break, Ronline, Ralph Bunche, a black man, arranged a ceasefire between two Middle East states or countries or cultures. Arranged a ceasefire.
You know, that brings to mind when I was coming up, considering the military, and, you know, I was always told, you know, no, stay yourself home. Do not get out here and fight these other people's wars. We have a war going on right here in the United States of America called You Are a Black Woman to Be. Because I was a child at that time. You're a black woman to be. And you're not respected, one, because of your color, two, because of your gender. You'll always be hated in these United States.
Yes.
So to go back and just think about when you mentioned Ralph Bunche, someone bringing peace to the Middle East, someone who will not be respected here. But yet in the middle of a war, bringing ceasefire.
Ralph, can you help us out, brother?
Right. And they already saw what they did for, what's that other war that we brought, that Confederate war that we end up bringing to a total stop, a resolution.
I wonder who Ralph Bunche's ancestors were in 1864.
Yes, that would be interesting to know.
Because almost 100 years later, Ralph Bunche was the man that brought peace to the Middle East between Israel and Arabs. I mean, that's like oil and water clashing.
Yes.
Okay. Two different religious factions, Christianity Jewish and Muslim clashing. And there needs to be some resolution for peace, man. We stop the violence. I give you a song that will go great with that particular concept. His name, the singer of this song name was Edwin Starr. Huh? Edwin Starr. You know that song, Ronline?
No, I don't.
You don't know that song?
I'll probably know the title when you tell me.
Did you ever see the movie with Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker?
Okay.
That first movie they made, what was it, Rush Hour?
Rush Hour.
Huh? What was the song they sang in that movie?
War?
Thank
what is
you.
it good for?
Edwin Starr. Edwin Starr. That was his song, War.
Or War. Okay.
What is it good for?
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Except
the power of money. That greed. What to say, right on.
For that money. going to build all these weapons, but you got to pay me some money to
Mm.
get the weapons. I'm trying to control this land. You got all I wanted. You got diamonds I wanted. All is money. Diamonds are money. War. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing.
Taking people's lives, turning them
Son,
upside down.
what?
And then this fire in California, how it's destroying wildlife,
I
lives.
mean, lives. I mean, just so Vladimir Putin, you just wanted to have that country because what, man? Why do you need that country? They were living in peace, but you needed that peace, PIECE, of
Of
land that they were
land.
living on in peace.
Mm,
So you started a war
mm,
for some
power
and money.
and money.
So Ralph Bunch, thank you, brother, for doing what you did at a time, because when folks in this day and time say, well, black people didn't do anything for this country. Okay. I guess Ralph didn't bring no peace to the Middle East, eh?
Mm,
Y'all sent him over there and he came back. It's like when Jesse went over there, Jesse Jackson went over there one time and brought some peace to,
mm,
it's like the fact that the last American to receive this award, there have been over 111 awardees of this Nobel Peace Prize. 21 of them have been Americans. 3 of them have been Black Americans.
mm,
And the one we know and recognize the most is the man whose birthday happens tomorrow. Tomorrow. The man who this country decided to make a national holiday because he was a great American,
mm,
a great American. And all he wanted was some peace, some respect, fairness, justice for who?
all.
For
Not
all.
for some,
Not
but
for
for
some.
all.
He didn't say justice just for black people. He said justice for
For
all.
all.
When there's no justice for one, there's no justice for anybody.
Yes.
So the Reverend Doctor, Martin Luther King Jr. in 1964 awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for the movement struggle for civil rights of the African American population, for black people in America. He adhered to Gandhi's philosophy of nonviolence and played a key role in the civil rights movement. He won this award in 1964 after putting it all on the line, going to jail, getting shot at, beat up, whatever. That's the award right there. That's the medal. But Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the Right Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, at 34 years old, at 1964, he was only 34 years old, or 35 years old. Young man, had done some work. He was called to do this work. He was called to do some work, and he did it. Now, Ronline, people may or may not know that if you win the Nobel Peace Prize, you get a check.
No, I didn't know that until we talked about we had a discussion some time ago, and that was really interesting to me that um, you would get a check for winning these awards. I really didn't know that they had some type of monetary value until
They
we had a
do.
discussion. Mm-hmm.
They do. And according to what was on the internet via Wikipedia, the prize money valued at $54,600 is what Dr. King earned. and it was donated to the civil rights movement. So I don't know if you win the award that you get some of that money, or it all goes to whatever you're fighting for. Or I would think you get some. I mean, if you're a chemist and you're working on something, I don't work for a company, so I mean, but whatever. That's the amount that was earned by Dr. King. 1964, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the second African American, 14 years after Ralph Bunche brought peace to the Middle East. Dr. King was trying to bring peace to the South.
Yes. Well, I tell you, those people in Norwegian, they had a vision, did they not? Did
It
you
was a
carry
man
it
that had a
out
vision.
long after Mr. Noble's death? Boy, that's something.
Right. So that gentleman, Dr. King, and then in 2002, the late, and in my opinion, Ronline, one of the greatest presidents we ever had. I know a lot of people didn't feel this way, but I'm just giving you my personal opinion. Jimmy Carter was one of the greatest presidents we ever had.
Yes.
Jimmy Carter was about
Peace.
helping mankind.
Yes.
See, these Dr. King was about mankind. Jimmy Carter, about mankind. Habitat for Humanity, that was his baby.
Mm-hmm.
Building homes for people who couldn't afford homes, who needed homes. So he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2002, some 22 years after he left office, for his untiring effort, for his decades of untiring effort to find peaceful solutions to international conflicts, to advance democracy and human rights, and to promote economic and social development. See, some people want to do good. And, you know, as they'll tell you, the yin and the yang.
Mm.
There's the plus and the minus, the good and the bad. And there's only one thing I can think of when you say the good and the bad, to add to that: the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Mm-hmm.
But the good and the bad. So here's a man who was about helping people. He just as we say down here in this, he's just a good old boy.
Mm.
Oh, Jimmy, over there on that peanut farm.
The peanut man.
And when we talk about a Jimmy Carter who left Plains, Georgia as a peanut farmer, rose in Georgia to be the governor, lived in the city of Atlanta. See, a lot of people, and I had a conversation with someone, they're like, no, Atlanta's not the capital of Georgia. I'm like, yes, it is. You ever seen that gold dome in the city? I mean, if you go through downtown, you'll see it. That's where the Capitol building is. It's right in the heart of downtown, a block away from City Hall. From the governor in Atlanta to the presidency of the United States. I'm just a peanut farmer, man. I don't know nothing.
Trying to make a difference.
I'm trying to make a difference. And he kept making a difference some 40 years after he left office. And he was the president that brought Egypt and Israel together to sign a peace accord. So that debacle he had trying to rescue the people, the soldiers over there in the Middle East. Okay, it was a debacle, yeah, but the man was a good man.
Yeah, he tried.
He tried.
Mm-hmm.
And then our last guy, number 44 on your list of presidents, Barack Obama.
What you say?
He was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize less than 8 months after, being in office for his extraordinary efforts to strengthen international diplomacy and cooperation between peoples. Okay? To give support in word and deed for the vision of a world free from nuclear weapons.
Mm. And somebody say, well, what did he do for black people? Baby, he saved you from a nuclear war. He was all about trying to bring those troops home.
There we go. So now his prize money was $1.4 million.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it said it was donated to several charities.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't need the money. I don't need the money. I'm making $400,000 a year being the president of the United States.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Multiply that times 8. That's $3.2 million that he made. And whatever else he made. And then after he got out of office, whatever else he's made. But the man was about trying to do something good for people.
Yes, they want to see the countries destroyed with nuclear war, because that cleanup after the fact is horrible.
What cleanup? You're not going to be around to clean up nothing.
Right. It's not going to be no one that's going to be around to clean up anything.
You're going to be around to clean up nothing?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, so, hey. So anyway, Ronline, that's our thing for today. The Noblest of prizes, the Nobel Peace Prize. I'm going to let you have your Black History moment.
All right. Well, thank you so much for bringing all of that to our attention. So today, I'm bringing to you attorney, the activist, the professor, the educator, the author, the person who started her own Me Too movement back in the 90s. Anita Faye Hill. She's the author of Believing, Our 30-Year Journey to End Gender Violence. Gender violence. She has also written other books called Speaking Truth to Power and Reimagining Equality, Stories of Gender, Race, and Finding Home. These books can be found on Amazon. In 1992, Attorney Hill received the American Bar Association's Commission on Women, the Profession's Women of Achievement Award. And in 2016, actress Kerry Washington portrayed Professor Hill in the HBO TV movie Confirmation. If it ever comes on any of your streaming channels, please check it out. Learn about her, because she has turned history on its heels when it comes to women standing up for themselves in the workplace and in every place. Because of her, how the discrimination used to be about us being discriminated about our hair. So it produced the Crown Act. There's so many things that I can bring forward, but our time is running out. So Anita Hill, study her. Go back and look at some of her shows. She's been on Good Morning America, on some of those outlets. So Earl, I turn it back over to you to close us out.
Thank you, Ronline. Thank you for bringing us Professor Dr. Anita Hill. Great legacy that she was involved with here in our country. That's going to do it for us today here on the Kitchings table. Again, happy birthday, belated. Rest in peace, rest in power, birthday to Dr. Martin Luther King. That's going to do it for our show today. As we say always here at the Kitchings table, go do something good for somebody else today. For Ronline Cannady, I'm W. Earl Kitchings. Have a great week. Bye-bye.